All right, the next one, it's not really a meme, it's more of a poem. Well, I don't know, it's not even a poem. It's more of a just something I wrote. So the picture is of this woman doing a sort of a cartoon flop with another person. I think it's Photoshopped. God, I hope it's Photoshopped. Anyway, so what I wrote is Etsaman, Namaste backwards. And that's how it is sometimes. Instead of the Buddha in me sees the Buddha in you, it's the pain in me sees the pain in you. And it pulses with resentment and regret and righteous anger. The Buddha in me just smiles and waits without waiting for the storm to blow through, for the clouds to part and the light of compassion to warm my heart and to co-shine with you again. Namaste. So I think that came from a sort of a reaction to the way people were just sort of saying namaste, and like, what does it really mean, And it's that, look, I'm no expert on it, but roughly it means the Buddha in me sees the Buddha in you. And that's beautiful when that happens. But often it doesn't happen. Often what happens is, as I said, the pain in me resonates with the pain in you. So you're angry and I'm angry back. Or you're jealous and I'm like, well, I'm going to get you back. I'm going to be even more jealous than you are. Or you're a bit mean with me. You didn't when it came time for you to buy you a round of drinks, you didn't buy well, I'm not going to buy you any more drinks. I'm going to, and like that happens on so many levels where the pain in us responds to the pain in the other person. And then we come back, the clouds part, the clouds of unconsciousness part, and then we're like, oh, why was I such a shit? But then, if you can kind of see that there's a part behind that. There's a part behind our unconsciousness. Like for me, like what I observe in myself and in other people, we give ourselves such a hard time about our unconsciousness. And we think that we are our unconsciousness. And when you can kind of see that everybody is like a planet, you could say, and then we have weather patterns around us. So at the center, we're like the sun, and then around us, we have the clouds. And the clouds are our unconsciousness. And the light of our being is changing our unconsciousness. It's getting changed from within and from without through our interaction in the world. So, yeah, if you do a terrible, despicable thing, there is a right shame. There is when you feel like deep shame for your actions. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think it's like you spiritual bypass it and just go, oh, well, it was just my unconscious, You can't do that. Well, you can, but it doesn't really, you don't get the most out of it. Whereas when you can kind of go, yeah, that was terrible. My behavior was appalling. When you can kind of see that that's the weather patterns, then it's much easier to apologize. It's much easier to admit you were wrong. It's much easier to go, yeah, that was very bad behavior on my part, and I'm very sorry. What can I do to help or fix or repair? Some things you can't repair. Some things you just got to live with for the rest of your life. But at least if if it's to do with another person, and usually it is, then we can, do our best to make amends to that person. It's not always easy. It's not always possible, but you can at least aim for it. The thing is, when you can see the separation between you and your unconscious, then you're not so attached to it. Your personality's not tied up with it. It's like you're not, oh, I am the terrible person. No, I couldn't be the terrible person. They must be wrong, When you kind of go, yeah, we've all got unconsciousness, when you can have a bit of like a sort of sense of humor about it, which I know is terrible, because if you've been an absolute shit to somebody, or if you've like been cruel or manipulative, and you didn't realize it, of course, because it's your unconscious, but then suddenly you can see, oh my God, I've just seen, oh no, look what I did, If you can kind of go, God, we're so funny, like we're funny little creatures in this big little illusion that we're so involved in. We take it very seriously, and we take ourselves so seriously, particularly with our unconsciousness. We can't laugh about it. We can't, I'm not saying sort of, oh, I just totally betrayed you. It's hilarious. I totally stole all your money. I don't mean that. But I mean to yourself. I mean to yourself on the inside, that you kind of don't like feel that pain. Feel the right shame. That's true. I mean, there's shame that we're indoctrinated with. That's not right shame. That's to be removed for sure. But then there's when you see the effects of your unconsciousness, there is a natural kind of sadness. I love this person, and I just took their head off because they what? Because they looked at me funny? Because they didn't buy me a birthday present? Because they had the TV on too loud or whatever. I just took their head off for that. That's ridiculous. That is so ridiculous, because I love this person, and yet look what I just did. And to not kind of go, oh, I'm so terrible, which just feeds into your shame. It's to kind of go, well, I know who I am, and I know I've got unconsciousness. I am so sorry I took your head off. What can I do to make amends, I'm saying I'm sorry, so let's start with that. And then what can I do? And then to kind of go, silly old me and my unconsciousness, not to the person, to yourself. Like, well, that's just my unconsciousness. I mean, the horrible, sick feeling of the shame, it will last for a while. Usually lasts for a couple of days, depending on how bad it was. But if you can be kind to yourself on the inside, if you can have that kind of sweet, humorous, like an affectionate, like if you have kids or if you know kids and they behave badly, it's not like you hold it against them for the rest of their lives. Well, we hold our own stuff against us for the rest of our lives. We're that crazy, we're that ridiculous. So that's what the other bit about is, that the Buddha in me, which is like the planet, the center, the being, whatever you want to call it, the mystery as it expresses itself in you, it's unmoved by your unconsciousness. It doesn't kind of go, oh, I'm a terrible mystery, I'm a terrible whatever. It's unmoved by that completely. It's just doing its thing. And so it just smiles on and waits for the clouds to part. And it's not even waiting. That's why I said waits without waiting. It really doesn't care. It's unmoved, that's probably a better way of putting it. It does care deeply, but without needing anything from us. It's not like it needs us to get more conscious. It doesn't. That's just its nature. So if we can have a bit of a sense of humor, if we can kind of go, yeah, Namaste, it's beautiful, the Buddha in me sees the Buddha in you, but also know that your pain is going to trigger my pain, unless I can kind of do something about it, unless I can kind of go, yeah, when you're angry, I could get angry, I fucking want to get angry, but I'm not going to get angry. I'm going to just know that it's not the true representation of myself. I'm going to try and get ahead of it. And if I do get angry, and if I do take your head off, as soon as the clouds part, I'm going to apologize. I'm going to try and make amends for it. I'm going to return. And I'm going to let myself off the hook on the inside about it, or I'm going to forgive myself on the inside, or I'm going to be kind to myself on the inside in the same way I would be to a child or a pet or something that I loved, that I, yeah, you behave badly, but, okay, let's move on kind of thing. And we do that with ourselves. If we can do that with ourselves, it's so much softer on the inside.